Actually, when I was looking up Oscar Micheaux films to watch, and I saw that one was titled Veiled Aristocrats, I'm like, that's not an Oscar Micheaux movie. Veiled Aristocrats. Get out of here. Oh, that's some like AI generated Oscar Micheaux thing.
No.
But it was the real deal. I was like, okay, man. So yeah, I definitely would recommend this movie. And it's 44 minutes.
It's 44 minutes.
And it actually goes pretty quick.
YUNKJunk!
Welcome to the Micheaux Mission, 2 men, 1 podcast, every black film ever made. My name is Vincent Williams, and I'm joined as always by my partner, Lynn Webb.
Hey, holler at your boy, Justin Len, a.k.a. the Bat Tribble.
And on this, our 399th episode.
Ooh, 399.
We go way back in the Wayback Machine to 1932 with the film starring Lorenzo Tucker, Laura Bowman, the second remake of The House Behind the Cedars. Directed, written, produced, catered, designed, costumed,
and projected
by our spiritual leader, our North Star, the great Oscar Micheaux, as we spend some time talking about the Veiled Aristocrats. But before we get to the aristocrats and how much veiling is involved, how are you, sir?
I am doing great, Vincent. How about yourself?
I'm well as well.
Very good.
I am well as well.
Shout out to each and every one of you out there watching as we stream live from YUNKJunk, Philadelphia's premier video podcast palace, to all points north, south, east, and west. That means Facebook, that means LinkedIn, and that means all of you out there in the chat of YouTube. Hello, missionaries.
Good evening, one and all.
Vincent, it is episode 399.
399?
Wow. And Dylan
Yes.
Greeted me as I came into the studio tonight saying that, are you aware that most podcasts, not just some, most podcasts don't get anywhere near to 400 episodes.
I mean, I'm not surprised by that at all.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised by that at all. If you do something that you love, you never work a day in your life.
That is very true.
So,
and this has never been work.
It's never work. It's never work. Sometimes some of the films are easier to get through than others, but even the ones that are difficult to get through, I know it's going to be a great conversation on the other end. So,
amen.
All right.
Amen.
399.
399. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to jump right into the show though, because it is thick. We're jumping way back to Oscar Micheaux, and we want to hear from you as we have. We asked for emails, and boy, did you send them in.
All right.
I was calling through the emails, Vincent, and it was hard to just cut down to a few. But
okay, all right.
We've got a few to bring to you. Your emails, or as we like to call them,
Missives from the Missionaries. So what else is going on, Lynn?
We have emails, Vincent.
Ooh, Missives from the Missionaries. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh, Missives from the Missionaries.
We have an email, Vincent, from George Carmona.
What's up, George?
Lando. This is in regards to Lando. Those were probably his clothes to begin with. He just leaves the Falcon to Han and walks away. Han's trifling ass just started wearing them. And yeah, they smashed.
Well, there you go. There you go. George, come on up with the Star Wars commentary.
There you go.
You think of him as a Trekker, but he also does Star Wars commentary.
Oh, he's going to come at some Star Wars. He continues. We can't ignore the relevancy of Morris Day and the time. They came up twice in this past episode for two different conversations. Side note, I didn't know there was a video for Ice Cream Castles. The spice was flowing that day. May I suggest, instead of the Micheaux test, the Micheaux meter?
Oh.
To address the blind casting issue, have 4 or 5 factors for making a black movie. Significant number of actors who are black, check. Behind the scenes is a director, writer, or producer, black, check. And so on and so on. Again, a suggestion. That's a good suggestion, the Micheaux meter.
Right. How many black people were involved in various aspects of the production.
Yeah, and see how it ranks on the Micheaux meter.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
And I think that's a nice scale to, like, you know, after we give our reviews and our thoughts on the movie, to then say, okay, well, this is where it ranks, or where does it rank on the Micheaux meter? And we go there.
Sure. Yeah. I like it.
I like
I like to gauge things. So
I do like that.
Yeah.
But you know what? I like that idea so much. We're at episode 399. It ain't broke, don't fix it. Vincent always says. But with episode 401, I would love to put that into the house.
Oh, okay. Let's bring it in.
Bring it in.
All right.
Bring it in. All right. And I think, in respect to our good friend George Carmona, we should call it the George Micheaux meter.
The George Micheaux meter.
Yes.
He's like Oscar's brother.
Yes.
Or his cousin.
From a future mother. We'll workshop it. Okay.
All right.
Lastly, George continues. Len, I was with you on the pretzels, but popcorn and coffee, when they interview us for the to-be documentary, The Popcorn Killer, my quote is going to be, he seemed like a great guy, smart, funny, and really professional. The signs were there, but he was so charming and charismatic. You couldn't help but overlook the coffee warning.
Oh, yeah.
So remember, Len, when you're working on your list, I said smart, funny, and charismatic.
Yeah.
Your friend, George Carmona.
See, Len, here's the thing. And this is science.
Here we go.
Our olfactory senses are our most sophisticated sense.
Yes.
Which is why popcorn and coffee scientifically smell better than they taste. Because our tongues are not as sophisticated as our sense of smell. Like if you had said, I don't like the taste of popcorn or the taste of coffee.
Well, I don't like the taste of coffee.
See, even that would have made more sense. But for you, like you don't like the smell is actually inhuman.
It's not inhuman. It's not inhuman. And it's not so much the smell of popcorn. So popcorn that has popped, I don't mind that smell. It's the smell of popping popcorn.
See, and I was going to let that slide. What is the difference between the smell of popping corn and popped popcorn?
Well, how about this? You go home and pop some popcorn and you tell me.
No, see, Lynn, I'm a human being. So I have popped popcorn before, and there is no difference between the smell.
No, I disagree. There is a difference, and the smell is unpleasant to me. Now, once it is popped and it has been bagged, I'm all there for it.
You find that unpleasant, kind of like you find like human perspiration unpleasant.
I don't necessarily.
In and out. When people's chests move back and forth when they breathe, you don't like that either. You find it all just unpleasant, don't you? You just want it all to be clean. I just need it to be clean. It's not clean, and I want it clean. Is that what you're telling us, Lynn?
I don't know who you are.
Oh, you know who I am. I like popcorn and coffee.
We have another email.
Yes, thank you, George.
This is from Michael Lockett.
Hey, what's up, Michael?
Greetings, my brothers. Cabin in the Sky for its time, for any time, actually, is such a full version of storytelling. So many nuanced and expansive portrayals by this cast. Also, the bonus Moonwalk intro makes an iconic film with historical brilliance. Len, do you know any deets on why the studio decided to pony up money for this film? Black films were 999 times out of 100 disregarded by the general populace of the U.S. at this time. They were, but there was still, even if on a smaller level, an audience for black theaters and seeing black faces in these movies. Now you got to remember, Oscar Micheaux has been doing this deal since the 20s. Cabin in the Sky is 1943.
Yeah.
So it took them a while to really get around to it and really put some real money into it. You know what I mean? So so much so that this year we get Cabin in the Sky and Stormy Weather.
Right.
Because both studios realized this at the same time. And we know anything about movie studios, once they both figure out something at the same time, they're both racing to the theater to get that money.
Sure. And to add to that, this is also, remember, this is during World War II. So this is the moment where Roosevelt had sat down with the studio heads.
Yes.
And said, y'all need to be real cool with the racism.
That's very true.
And we need to kind of gin up patriotism all along. So much so that if you remember, Stormy Weather, Bill Robinson's character is actually a soldier.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
So that's also kind of what's in the air. Like we got to chill a little bit on the Uncle Toms and the Mammies and all. So that kind of is in the air as well.
And to be fair, it is starting even in the 40s, probably with World War, black people being drafted into the war, going to fight for our country. It is becoming a little bit more, out of fashion a little bit.
Right.
Some people are fighting for the thing. I'm trying to be like Vincent has taught me to not look at the chat, so I see you, Lisa Alexander, caping up.
See
about.
See, look at you. Ooh, squirrel. See?
Well, she's saying that she can understand not liking the smell of burnt popcorn.
Hey, man.
But I don't know the difference between popping corn and popped corn.
See?
Lisa, I tell you, pop some corn.
Come on, stop.
You don't know the difference.
Stop. Nobody knows this. This is all you.
It's not all me.
It is.
It's not.
Come on. Keep it moving.
It's not. Michael Locken continues. In my time travels, I visited you two in the past. I discussed the Afrofuturism of Attack the Block.
Yes.
I've forgotten how good this film was. It makes me a bit sad knowing that the talent of John Boyega is being wasted, at least on this continent. This movie hits in so many positive ways. I was surprised, but not surprised, that this made it as a black film, as I believe many times over. And both of you have staked this podcast to be Black American cinema. Despite the little cultural differences, the diaspora has lived several lives outside the motherland. Finally, I thought the top 5 where Len threw the jagged edge bomb was the best little side piece of the podcast. But no, the acrimony rant was top shelf. I couldn't agree more, and it was good to have all that acrimony towards acrimony voice. A quick question for you both. Are there any other directors and or writers of black films that you can think of that cause such intense, simultaneous love and hate from the black public? All the best, Michael. So any on the level of Tyler Perry that are so divisive?
I would argue that during the 90s, I think Spike Lee was a little... I think Spike Lee had some very vocal detractors.
Well, yeah, especially considering, we've talked about, how women are portrayed in his film.
Yeah.
And we've kind of bubbled that, some pent up feelings from the surface. Yeah, I guess Spike, y'all all cape for people, so I'm not going to say him. I feel like, was there...
Oscar Micheaux.
Well, yeah.
Oscar
he
Micheaux
actually did face some pushback.
Right. When you read the contemporary reviews of Micheaux, there's actually a pretty good story about this movie.
But here's the thing, though, to Michael Lockett's question. Do you think either of them faced the level of division that Tyler Perry had? I don't think so. Yeah.
I don't think so. Yeah. I think Tyler Perry is a unique case for a lot of reasons.
Yeah. I have to agree with that. Let's see. But thank you, Michael, for your...
As always, thank you, Michael.
Appreciate that. We have... I know... No, not that one. Yes. Is this? Yes. Okay. Email from Nicole Court.
What's up, Nicole?
Greetings to the Men of the Micheaux mission, Len and Vincent. I want to make both this email and conversation fun, which is... Oh, I think I already read this. Yeah, this one was from last week. I apologize.
Okay. Still good to hear from you, Nicole. Hope
it's always good to hear from you. I apologize for that one. That one was read from last week. So then we will move into our email from Eric Bray.
Hey, Eric.
On the basis of clones.
Okay, clones.
I have come to the defense of my other favorite missive writer named Michael Lockett.
Okay, all right.
Uh-oh.
Missionaries looking out for each other. That's what I like.
While listing movies with actors playing multiple roles in a recent episode, he included Hugh Jackman from The Prestige. You corrected him by saying it was Christian Bale and not his co-star who played dual parts in the film. While you're certainly correct that at the end of the movie, it was revealed that Bale's character had a twin who helped pull off his magical feats.
Spoiler.
It was also revealed that Hugh Jackman's character was repeatedly cloning and killing himself to do the same. I think perhaps technically that qualifies and is probably what Michael had in mind when including this amongst the other examples. Sorry for dropping spoilers on an 18-year-old movie, and I agree with you both. Tatiana Maslany is the reigning champ in this category for her work on Orphan Black. Thanks so again for all the great content. I'm looking forward to episode 400. Eric Bray.
All right.
Thank you, Eric. And you are wrong because as he points out, Hugh Jackman is playing a clone of the exact same character.
First of all, I've never actually seen The Prestige.
Oh.
Second of all, I thought it was set in the past. I mean, you might as well look.
Yes, it is.
How is he cloning himself?
Well, you'll have to see the movie.
No, it was no. See, now you got to tell me.
Well, okay.
Is this Chris Nolan? It's a Prestige.
I believe it is Chris Nolan.
Is that Chris Nolan?
I believe it is Chris Nolan. I'm not going to give it away because it is cool how he does it.
Is it set in the past or?
But it is set in the past, and I will
say. Is it a time machine?
No.
Is he Jesus?
If you will.
Is he time machine Jesus? Is he an alien? Is he from Atlantis? Is he a Bigfoot? Is he a Bigfoot robot like on the Bionic Man? Blew my mind. Like first he was a Bigfoot, but then you found out he was a robot Bigfoot, and then you found out he was a robot Bigfoot that was security for the aliens.
Are you finished?
I'm just trying to get some type of understanding and clarity.
I'm trying to answer you.
Okay, go ahead.
It ties in with Tesla.
Oh my goodness, Tesla was making clones?
You should see the movie. It's an excellent movie.
Okay, all right.
It is an excellent movie.
Doesn't sound as good as a robot Bigfoot who's doing security for the aliens.
You're going to have people looking up $6 Million Man on Tubi.
Is that like by your tone, you said that like that's not the most awesome thing they could be doing.
It does not age well. Let's be honest. And you know it.
That Bigfoot scared the shit out of me though.
Sure.
When I was a kid.
Sure.
When I was a kid.
Yes.
The Bigfoot.
Yes.
And then he was a robot.
Yes.
And like the fembots also scared me.
Yeah, the fembots are really disturbing. They take off the face.
Take off the mask.
Yeah, that's disturbing.
Face.
They're disturbing.
All right.
Okay. All right. So no, Eric, but thank you for your email.
All right.
Appreciate the email.
Thank you, Eric.
Most definitely. We have an email
Mm-hmm.
from Morgan Robinson.
Hey, Morgan.
Hey, Vincent Len, since you all have been discussing developing the Micheaux test for examining films, I thought I would share some other tests with y'all that I've seen over the past few years that may help develop your criteria.
Okay.
There's the Kent test, created by Clarkeisha Kent, examines whether films have thoughtful representations of Black women and or women of color.
Love it.
And the Kelly and Kat test, created by Clarkeisha and Sydney Sky G, examines whether films have thoughtful representations of fat Black women.
Love that.
And or non-men.
Yeah. I really like Clarkeisha Kent, too. She's really smart.
I also have some film suggestions for you. Would I be a missionary if I didn't? No, you
would not.
If you all revisit the Back to School documentary month, which we will be doing in Doc to School in September.
Absolutely.
I think Any Other Way, the Jackie Shane story, would be a good pick. It conveys the history of Jackie Shane, a Black trans woman and singer who was popular in the Toronto music scene in the 1960s, fading from that scene a decade later and debuted at this year's South by Southwest Festival.
Okay.
And if you all return to Westerns at any time, a good option would be, I'm sure, a film that Vincent is going to select next February, Outlaw Johnny Black from 2023.
Yeah.
Apparently a spiritual sequel to Black Dynamite. And since you all said you wanted to revisit that and review it together, maybe a double feature could happen. Plus, Anika Noni Rose.
Come on, dog. You know I know that.
Outlaw.
Come on, stop. Of course.
So I know
of course,
Vincent
of course
is
I
down.
know. Of course I know the great Anika Noni Rose was in it. You know, she was at Disney World this week because
I did not know that.
Yeah,
did you know that, Vincent?
I did because
you follow Anika Noni Rose.
The ride. They opened the new.
I saw something.
Yeah, the new ride. So she was there helping to introduce it. The newlywed, I think, still a newlywed. Anika Noni Rose.
Oh, congratulations to her.
Hey, man,
are you okay with that?
I'm very. Look, I can't do. Look, I want her to be happy.
Yes.
So. I'm very happy for her.
Very good.
And I like dude that she married too. It's a dude from Greenleaf.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we co-sign with this way.
Yeah.
All right. You want to hit the gavel?
It's so far away.
Dylan.
No. Y'all, that's a joke from when we first start taping. No, Dylan. You're good. Please don't. But yes.
But if you just see his hand come in.
You just hear him skittering across the floor. Have everybody angry at me. Wow, this is on some bullshit. Not at all.
We see who's the star of the show.
But did you see it? Did you see Outlaw Johnny Black?
No, I haven't.
I haven't seen it yet either.
No.
Yeah.
There's some movies like I want to see, but then I'm like,
exactly.
I watch them when I have to watch them.
Right. And I'm like a little scared.
You're scared?
Because I know it's not going to be.
Oh, so you don't want to be.
I know it's not going to be Black Dynamite.
Right.
So then I'm just like.
You don't want to.
Right.
Before you have to.
Right.
No, yeah, I feel you on that.
It's like the first half hour of Across the Spideyverse. I was like kind of.
You were.
Like I was like just anxious.
You said that, yeah.
I was like, oh God, it's no way it's going to be as good. And then it was.
Yes.
So now I'm going to be anxious for like an entire hour in Beyond the Spider-Verse.
We got another email.
Okay.
This is from Corey P.
Hey, Corey.
Hello, Len and Vincent, from a fellow missionary. In this email, I want to talk about one of my favorite Spike Lee joints, Mo Better Blues.
Okay, the Mo Better makes it Mo Better.
The other week, I went and listened to the review of this movie from this show's archive. This review was early on in the mission, the first year of the show. Mo Better Blues is arguably one of Spike Lee's overlooked and underappreciated movies, while the role of Bleak Gilliam, played by Denzel, is one of his more underrated roles, in my opinion. I have two fun facts I would like to share, with the first one being that Halle Berry was considered for the role of Clark Bendicourt. Halle turned it down because of the love scenes between Clark and Bleak.
Interesting.
I remember a few weeks ago, someone mentioned that Denzel and Halle have never been in a movie together. Man, imagine if Halle starred as Clark. Another fun fact was that Wesley Snipes auditioned for the role of Bleak.
I knew that. That I did know. But now I'm sitting here mind blown. Halle Berry as Clark Bendecourt.
I'm curious if Wesley had auditioned for Bleak and maybe is in the running for Bleak. Is that around the time that Halle turns down the role of Clark because she doesn't want to have to potentially be doing love scenes with Wesley Snipes?
Look at you looking at the pasta and the sauce and the cheese and saying, I think that's lasagna. I mean, I've only known about it for 30 seconds, but yeah, I hadn't. That's a really good observation.
All right. Corey.
God bless Cinda Williams, but I think Halle Berry would have been wrong as Clark. I mean, God bless, I know it sounds like because I think part of what makes Clark such a great character, played by Cinda Williams, is that you understand him kind of dismissing her as sort of eye candy. Like I'm like, there's no reason for me to take you seriously. So then when you get the switch at the end where you realize that she can sing and that there is more to her and that wonderful look on Bleak's face, I just feel like Halle Berry, even that young, it's difficult for me to believe that you would be dismissive of her as just a pretty face. Because I think she's always kind of had this intelligence that comes across in her bearing.
I think so too.
And to be crystal clear, I'm not saying Cinda Williams is dumb.
No, not at all.
I think Cinda Williams is very, I love Cinda Williams in my movie. One False Move. But I think Cinda Williams was able to convey, again, this person that someone who's so inside his own head would have been dismissive of, that I don't know if I would have believed that with Halle Berry.
Well, in my mind, and I mean, we are fans of Halle Berry, so it's no disrespect to her. But we're also fans of Cinda Williams, like you said. Yeah. In my mind, I don't see Halle in that role because I think that role calls for a woman that she has to like almost smolder on screen. You know what I'm saying? And Halle Berry is a gorgeous woman, but I don't think she has the same sensuality that Cinda just evokes just from coming into a room. And I can say that because it's now maybe almost 5 years ago, sat down to interview her when she was here in Philadelphia. No, I guess it's longer than 5. When she was in Philly for a time. And, this is years later. And dude, you could not take your eyes off that woman. So yeah, it's a different energy. That's when I think we're pretty secure saying she's a very attractive woman. Oh, amen. They both are. Corey continues. I rewatched this movie a few days ago, continuing about Mo Better Blues, and I really want to highlight the character Indigo Downs, played by Joie Lee. I remember reading somewhere that Indigo's beauty was underrated, and I could not agree more. I personally felt like Indigo should have been in the movie more. But the reason why I bring up Indigo is because of her beauty. When Mo Better Blues came out, there were hardly or no darker-skinned black women as love interests. Joie Lee and her natural hair and her glow stood out to me the most. It was fascinating seeing a black woman with natural kinky hair being a love interest. Both Cinda Williams and Joie Lee are gorgeous women, but I was in awe about Joie's character of Indigo. Something I noticed is that Denzel's love interests are always black women and maybe a woman who is a person of color. I know Denzel has starred in movies alongside other white actresses, but there was never anything sexual between them except maybe in He Got Game when he hooked up with one of Thomas Jefferson Byrd's prostitutes. It has been said over the years he's never kissed a white woman on screen, and his love interests are always women of color, particularly a black woman. I just wanted to give my 2 cents on this beautiful film. I cannot wait to hear your thoughts from a fellow missionary, Ori.
Yeah. I probably talked about it on that episode. I loved Joie Lee so much.
Mm-hmm.
Like I because you teased me about it. Because I used to subscribe to Essence when I was in college, because I was a very sensitive, well-read man.
Of course.
And Essence used to the cover, it would be the cover, and the cover would have like the headlines for all of the different stories in the magazine. But then inside the magazine, they would have the cover without the stories on
so
it.
You just have
and it would say, when you miss Essence, you miss yourself. And on my dorm, I had cut out all of these pictures from Essence of that cover. When you miss Essence, you miss yourself. And directly above my door was the cover from when Joie Lee was on the cover of Essence. Nice. And it was a purple background. Like, I remember it clear as day. It was a purple background. She had on like a shimmery kind of, almost like evening gown. Mm-hmm. She had her hair up in almost a bun. And I just thought Joie Lee was gorgeous. I think Joie Lee is gorgeous. She played Nola Darling's mother in the
TV series.
The TV series.
She's Gotta Have It.
Oh, She's Gotta Have It. So, I haven't seen her that much, but I remember like 2 or 3 years ago thinking, damn, she's still fun. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, I love Joie Lee.
I always thought
I love Joie Lee.
I always thought that she was underrated.
Yeah.
As an actress. And I was considered, if she's done anything outside of Spike, I can't think of it.
Not that I know of.
And maybe she just hasn't wanted to.
Yeah, not that I know
of. But she's haven't. I thought she would have shown up on the series or something like that.
Yeah. There's a less Joie Lee. Like, I've never felt as in tune as a character. There's a moment in Do the Right Thing where Jake, the character she plays, comes into Sal's shop, and she has on like this, beautiful sundress and this kind of hat, and she goes in, and Danny Aiello and Sal is talking to her, and then he says, I don't want to come across as a jerk, but your eyes are just so beautiful. I just can't take I can't stop looking at you. And I was like, all right, I know Spike is going for this, like Sal is being kind of vaguely racist maybe, and I don't know what's going on, but he's not wrong.
Yeah.
So shout out to Joie Lee.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
And one more email, Vincent, from Ron Covington.
Hey, what's up, Ron?
Len and Vincent, I'm a writer and movie fan deep into Black film and crime novels.
All right.
You recently had Gary Phillips on discussing Bucktown, which I love for the interesting way this story turned, as well as the performance of Thalmus Rasulullah, a.k.a. Jack Crowder. Saw him on the episode of Perry Mason. We both, Ron and Gary, belong to the IBWA, International Black Writers and Artists.
Okay.
Nice. Anyway, that conversation you had with Gary got me thinking about the streaming movie Heist 88. Are you aware of this film?
I am not.
Are you not aware of this film? I'll tell you about it in a second.
Okay.
I watched it because I developing my own caper story. So I'm consuming a lot of robbery tales to think about how I can twist some of the beats to bring some uniqueness to my yarn. I thought Heist 88 started off in an interesting manner, but was ultimately unsatisfying because of the non-twist of the climax. Did you see it? And if so, what are your thoughts? P.S. If you haven't already, you must consider reviewing Chameleon Street.
Oh, yeah, we did Chameleon Street.
We did do Chameleon Street.
We did.
Now, Heist 88, I am aware of this film. I believe, I'm not sure exactly where it's streaming. It may be on Paramount. I don't think about it. It stars Courtney Vance.
Okay.
And Keith David.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. A criminal mastermind decides to pull one last job before going to prison and recruits a group of young bank employees to steal millions in a daring and brazen assault on the United States banking system. And if I remember correctly, it is based on a true story. The young stars in it are Precious Way, Keisha Sharp, Xavier Clyde, and Bentley Green.
Okay.
In this film.
I like Keisha Sharp. I love Keisha Sharp.
Yeah, and I haven't seen the film. I did see like the trailer for it, and it was one of those movies that one, it went straight to streaming. So I was like, oh, well, maybe we'll pick it when we have to.
Sure.
But there's another one like the trailer. The trailer is almost just like Ron just described it. The trailer got me excited because it's a heist film. It's Courtney Vance, Keith David. But then as the trailer went on, it was just a little bit too long and just revealed maybe a little bit too much. Then I'm like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know.
Yeah, like we were saying earlier, all right is not enough to...
Yeah. You know, so like with a heist film, especially on a trailer, just the beats.
In and out.
In and out.
In and out.
You know, you either grab you if you don't. Make me want more. Make me want to go there and find out exactly what happened. Because I'm a sucker for a good heist film.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but maybe some, you know, it'll show up and find its way.
Okay.
Here on the mission.
All right.
So that is our email.
But thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to have your voice be heard and have your email read here on the email, take a chance. Send us an email to micheauxmission@gmail.com. That's MICHEAUXMISSION@gmail.com. All right. Keep it moving.
Yeah.
And it's now time for the top 5.
Top 5. Who's your top 5? My top 5 is. My top 5 is. My top 5 is. My top 5 is.
Top 5, ladies and gentlemen, where I create a list and I read said list to Vincent, and he shares with all of us his scintillating commentary on my list.
Commentary. Scintillating.
You had to resort. You want me to call Dylan again?
Go ahead. Do the top 5.
My timey. Anyway, keeping in theme.
Keeping in theme. All right.
We are reviewing tonight from 1932, Veiled Aristocrats.
Yes, we are.
A film by Oscar Micheaux. A film that was once thought lost, but then found. And it has been pretty much pieced together. It is still considered incomplete.
Yeah.
But the bones of it are there to make out what the film is. So, keeping in theme, I have looked through the filmography of Oscar Micheaux, who it is said to have directed 40 or perhaps 44 films.
Right.
Throughout the silent era into the early days of talkies.
Yeah.
But many of his films are considered lost.
Yes.
So I've looked through his film and I've come up with the top 5 lost films of Oscar Micheaux. That may possibly be worthy of remaking.
Interesting.
So we are remaking Micheaux.
Remaking Micheaux. Micheaux Reloaded.
There you go.
There you go.
I need to start running these by you. Anyway.
Yes.
Starting with number 5.
Okay.
From 1925.
Okay.
It's a lost film called Marcus Garland.
Okay.
Marcus Garland is directed and written, produced, of course, by Oscar Micheaux. It offers a harsh parody on the rise and fall of one Marcus Garvey.
Interesting.
The Black nationalist and Pan-Africanist leader. Few details of the film's production survive, and some sources actually placed its release in 1928. Now, for those who are not familiar with Marcus Garvey, he was considered a polarizing figure who was both revealed and reviled. His biographer noted that views on him largely divided between two camps, one camp portraying him as a charlatan and the other camp portraying him as a saint. Similarly, he has verily been perceived as a strident demagogue or a dedicated prophet or martyred visionary or possibly a fabulous con man. It is noted that when Garvey returned to Jamaica in the 1920s, he was just about the best known black man in the world at that time. And who had lived a life by 1925 or 1928, depending on what you think is true, that Oscar Micheaux thought might be rife for parody.
Started the Back to Africa movement, bought the Black Star Line, and then the factoid that I always like to add is the reason that there was the first black FBI agent, because the FBI infiltrated Marcus Garvey's organization and framed him for mail fraud so that they could deport him.
Yeah.
So I think that would be a very interesting film.
Now, Oscar Micheaux did create a parody, and possibly because, Garvey was alive at the time.
Sure.
Do you think that, first of all, I'm unsure. Has there been a biography of Marcus Garvey?
I don't think there has.
Yeah, that's curious.
Yeah, I don't think there has.
So
maybe
I think it goes without saying
before you do a parody.
Yeah, I'm about to say it goes without saying that they're long overdue for a biography of Marcus Garvey.
Yeah.
And with that being said, like you just said, yeah, I think you'd have to do that before you do any type of parody.
Sure.
Of him, right?
Sure. I would think so.
Yeah, that's only fair. Even though sometimes you have to put the parody in motion to get people off their butt to do the real thing.
Yeah.
So that might happen. So maybe we need to do that just so we can get the other.
There you go.
Let's see. All right, that's number 5.
That's number 5.
Number 4 is from 1929. And this is the Oscar Micheaux film, The Wages of Sin.
Yeah. I've heard of this one.
Wages of Sin is a race movie that featured an all-black cast headed by William A. Clayton Jr. and Bessie Givens. The film was made into pre-code Hollywood and is presumed lost. So therefore, there is no known surviving footage of this film, The Wages of Sin. See, because there's no footage and because it's such a provocative title, you could just say you're remaking Oscar Micheaux, call it The Wages of Sin, and you could just do whatever you want.
Right. Now, is there a plot?
I could not find any information about the plot of it.
Right. So do you know whether or not this is one of what they call his ghost films?
No,
right, because there's like there are a bunch of his films that the only proof that there is that it existed is that it was like a review or like a posting or a
of
poster,
it.
Right? But like, there's no proof that anyone actually saw it except for that. It's
Yeah. See, and there are a couple of the films that I've selected where the only image that I could find was like some type of newspaper clipping of this. But The Wages of Sin is actually is art.
Okay.
Like movie art. But it's just no information.
Yeah.
About the movie.
Yeah. Okay.
So you could go in. So a movie about the wages of sin, what's the first thing that comes to your mind that movie might be about?
Well, because it's Oscar Micheaux, I'm going to say it is about a hypocritical pastor.
Okay.
Who's trying to take advantage of a young girl, trying to keep her moral standing.
Interesting.
Because Oscar Micheaux didn't really necessarily like organized religion that much.
That is very true.
Because his father-in-law was a preacher. He was a dick.
He He was quite a dick. He was quite a dick.
His first father-in-law. Or maybe his second father-in-law.
No,
One of his father-in-law.
It was his first father.
It was his first father-in-law.
It was his first
dick.
father.
Yeah, okay,
he was
go
the
ahead.
Dick.
Yeah.
Quite a dick. I'm just doing that to make Dylan laugh. Nice.
Because Dylan is 12.
and a half. Yes, 12 and a half.
Oh.
Number three.
Number 3.
From 1922.
Okay.
And this one, and from here we have plots.
Okay.
From 1922, The Virgin of the Seminole.
Wait, what now?
The Virgin.
The Virgin.
Virgin.
The Virgin.
Virgin. Virgin.
Okay.
Of the Seminole.
Of the like the Indians?
Yes.
Okay.
The film focused on a young black man who joins the Royal Canadian Mounted Police.
Sure.
And becomes a hero by rescuing a captive mixed race woman from a hostile American Indian tribe.
Oh my goodness.
The young man later purchases a ranch that becomes the foundation for great financial wealth in the Virgin of the Seminole.
It sounds a little bit like his novel, doesn't it? Am I mixing up plots? I might be mixing up plots. Never mind.
Doesn't say
I
that
take
it's
that
based on
back.
this book.
Okay, all right. Because I thought The Homesteader was like that too, but go ahead. It sounds great though.
It sounds interesting.
It does.
It does sound
Yeah,
interesting.
it sounds like
And that sounds like a movie that you could remake.
sounds like in the spirit of something like Buck and the Preacher.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. I can see that.
Okay.
I can see that. I can see Yahya Abdul-Mateen
Yeah. Oh yeah.
casting this film.
Oh yeah.
I like that. And he rescues a young mixed race woman.
Sure.
Maybe Zendaya.
Why not?
Okay. All right. So that's The Virgin of the Seminole.
Okay.
Number 2
Number 2
from 1924
Okay.
is A Son of Satan.
A son of Satan.
Yeah, not the, just A.
A son of Satan.
One of them.
One of them.
A Son of Satan follows the misadventures of a man who accepted a bet to spend a night in a haunted house.
It's Madcap.
It ran into distribution problems when state censor boards rejected the film based on its contents.
Mm-hmm.
New York censors objected to the film's depiction of violence, particularly against women and animals, because a cat is killed on screen in one scene.
Damn.
A Ku Klux Klan leader is slain.
Oh, wow.
And a man chokes his wife to death. While Virginia censors complained the film's references to miscegenation would prove offensive to Southern ladies.
Yeah.
In at least one state, the film was banned for its title alone.
Yeah, it sounds real tough the way you're describing it.
I know. But I want to see that. A Son of Satan. They killed a cat on screen?
That seems excessive. They should have killed 2 Klansmen. Like you kill a Klansman and a cat. What did the cat do? Kill 2 Klansmen.
You're right. You're right. Maybe there was a cat killed in the killing of the Klansman.
Ooh, say that 3 times real fast.
A cat was killed in the killing of the Klansman. You only get it once.
Okay.
All right. And number 1, the number one film of remaking Micheaux we have is The Dungeon from 1922.
All right.
The Dungeon is a 1922 race film by Oscar Micheaux, considered it was his first horror effort, an early blaxploitation take on the Bluebeard legend. Micheaux was criticized by D. Ireland Thomas, a columnist with the Chicago Defender, for his casting of light-skinned African Americans who could pass for white, attempting to make his films more commercially successful. Thomas questioned whether Micheaux was relying on his name alone to tell the public that it is a race production, or maybe he is after booking it in white theaters. Film focuses on Myrtle Downing, an African-American woman who was coerced into marrying a corrupt would-be politician named Gyp Lassiter.
Yeah, sure.
Even though she is really in love with Stephen Cameron, a young lawyer. She discovers that her husband has conspired to support segregationist policies in exchange for support by white political power brokers. She objects to his crooked dealings and gets herself imprisoned in a secret dungeon where her husband has murdered his previous wives.
Sure. I like it.
I don't love it.
Yeah, I like it. It's a great plot.
I know, right?
Like, it's a pretty dense plot. Seemed like you do a lot with it.
I like that.
I mean, hell, make it a period piece.
So put it back in the 20s?
Yeah, set it in the 20s.
Ooh. So who's the husband?
My man from Prison Break.
Who's your man from Prison Break?
The main dude from Prison Break who's actually biracial, I think.
Oh, the guy that was in...
Not the guy in the Flash. Well, I guess they were both in the Flash.
He was in the Flash.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I guess. Yeah. Because he's got to be light skinned. Yeah. So you
and look like he could pass.
So you would still do the whole light skin thing?
Look, man, balls to the wall.
You wouldn't cast Vin Diesel?
Vin Diesel is not a good actor.
Okay. Fair enough. Vin Diesel. See, the first one that came to my mind, but now you're on this whole light skin thing. First one that came to my mind.
I'm not on the light skin thing. I'm just listening to the movie.
No, I understand. No, and I forgot about that point because the first person that came to my mind was Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Yeah, he can't pass for nothing but us. His name sound black. You say Chiwetel Ejiofor name 3 times, somebody's going to start making Nigerian food. Just not a bad thing.
No, it's not.
Yeah. So yeah. Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Okay.
He can.
All right.
Yeah.
Very good. So the dungeon.
Who's
gonna play the wife?
I'm actually dipping because I'm going to did you watch Quicksand? Not Quicksand, Passing. Did you see Passing?
Yes.
With Tessa Thompson
Yeah.
and old girl from Preacher?
Mm-hmm.
Old girl from Preacher.
Okay.
Who plays the woman who's passing and passing.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Very good. All right. Well, that's our top 5.
Yeah.
Our top 5 remaking Micheaux.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies and gentlemen,
We should do Passing.
we're overdue.
We're overdue for Passing.
We're overdue for quite a film.
You saw Passing.
I did.
Did you like it?
I did.
I did too.
Yeah.
And I hadn't really, I
You didn't think you were going to?
I didn't think they could pull it off because it's such a bananas novel.
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I really like Passing.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is the top 5. It is now time for the Game of Kings.
Yes.
6 Degrees of D'Urville Martin.
Yes.
Six Degrees of D'Urville Martin, ladies and gentlemen, where Vincent has 6 films or less to connect an actor that I give him to D'Urville Martin, that man of stage, screen, and I'm sure he showed up on television somewhere.
Sure.
All right. Vincent,
Yes,
we're going
sir.
to keep this in theme.
Keep it in, oh boy, what's the theme of this?
Well, we're reviewing the film Veiled Aristocrats from
Yes, we are.
Oscar Micheaux.
Yes.
Oscar famously begins with an O.
Oh, Lord. This is a real shaky theme, I can tell already. Yes, it does begin with the letter O.
So
The theme is...
in 6 films or less, connect D'Urville Martin
to...
Oliver Platt.
It's a dude from The Bear, right?
The TV series?
Yeah, yes.
No.
Isn't he the?
Oh, yes.
He's different.
Yes.
Oh my God.
No. In my mind, real quick, I went to somebody else. But yes, you're right.
I know he's in movies.
He is in movies.
No. I know he's in because he's been in movies a long time.
Yes, he has.
I don't know. When's the last time I don't know what
He was in a movie this year.
Was it something I would have seen?
No.
Yeah.
I don't think so, to be fair. Has he been in the movies that you would have seen? I think so. No. One,
because
I'm
he's
pretty
never
sure
out front.
One, I'm pretty sure
Like
you
he's
saw.
always.
I can definitively say that there's a film that you saw that he was in. That would be a good film to get you started, to connect you with a bunch of stuff.
I can't think of a thing he was in. And like I said, he's been in stuff forever.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I see him young.
I mean, yeah, well, he's been in movies since the
Like the 80s?
the late 80s. Yeah. I didn't see him, but, you know.
Like, what's the first thing he was in?
The first movie that he was in? Married to the Mob.
Look, I don't remember him in Married to the Mob at all.
Do you know who's in Married to the Mob?
I love Married to the Mob. I actually love the movie. Like, who's he playing that? Well, let me just do it real quick. Derville Martin is in The Final Come Down with Billy D. Williams. Billy D. Williams is in Batman 89 with Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton is in Batman Returns with Michelle Pfeiffer, who's in Married to the Mob. With Oliver Platt. Now, who is he?
He plays an FBI agent.
Oh yeah, he must not. What's his big movie?
Well, I mean, he's never like the star.
Right, like he's
movie,
always just sort of around.
To be fair, but I'm going to just list some movies starting from the beginning of his career that I think you have seen.
Okay.
So you tell me whether or not you have. So you saw Married to the Mob.
Yeah. I like Married to the Mob.
Working Girl.
That's Melanie Griffith?
I believe that is the Melanie Griffith movie. Yes.
What's he doing in there? Like, get to something where like he.
Okay. Well,
like you kind of
Flatliners.
Who is he playing Flatliners?
I'm
all right. Go ahead.
Let's see. Well, here's the movie that I thought he's in X-Men First Class.
What the hell is he in X-Men First Class?
He's one of like them government guys in there.
So like when they have the government hearings and it's 37 dudes in the room.
I'm pretty sure
he's
that's
one of the dudes.
I'm pretty sure that's who he is in the movie. I'm going to look up right now.
Like he's not Stryker.
No, he's not.
He's not one of the X-Men. He's not an evil mutant.
He's not one of the.
He's like one of them dudes that holds up the signs that says, "We hate the mutants."
God, I just looked up his role in X-Men First Class, and admittedly, he's like one of the first like first 8. So
the first 8 names.
So I'm just saying, like, you know,
he's the first 8 names.
I'm saying like he gets a credit. He's not like at the end.
Who's at the end?
No, you know what I mean.
Who's after him? The security guard.
You know what I mean. But
come on, Lynn.
Well, just to tell you as far as pecking order, because you remember X-Men First Class.
Yes.
I remember there's a guy in there that plays, Nightcrawler's father, what's it, Azazel?
Yes.
Right. That guy is credited under Oliver Platt. But Oliver, to your point, Oliver Platt's role in X-Men First Class
is what?
Man in black suit.
Well, you're right, Lynn. I did not remember him in his pivotal role as Man in black suit.
Okay.
In X-Men First Class.
Okay. All right. Come down off your high horse.
He's excellent in The Bear.
No, he is.
He is excellent in The Bear.
Yeah, I love him in The Bear.
Yeah.
I loved him when he was on The West Wing.
Another television show.
Can't help it.
When do you love him in the movies, Lynn?
I loved him in X-Men First Class.
As man, who can forget the pivotal role of man in black suit? Not to be confused with man in brown suit. Because he was just phoning it in. Oliver Platt was the man in the black suit. Who else you got in the theme that the theme is the letter O?
Yes.
Who else we got, Lynn?
Next we have is six
Mm-hmm.
films or less. Connect Derville Martin
to
Olivia Colman.
She's another one. She was the best thing in Secret. Wait, let me see her picture. Make sure I'm who I'm thinking about. Pretty sure it is who I'm thinking about. Yeah, she was the best thing in Secret Invasion.
Mm-hmm, the TV series.
Yeah, the TV series. And to be clear, the only reason I'm about to say what I'm going to say is because it's kind of like when you play chess, you don't play the board, you play the player. And I always say, what are some old white lady movies that Lynn likes? So like I have like a list of old white lady, I have like 3 or 4 old white lady movies that I keep like it's like she's not in Downton Abbey, but to understand, you pick somebody in because I know you and Lynn says, and you have a little wrap across your lap and have your tea and watch your old white lady movies because I'll start once again where Derville Martin is in The Final Come Down with Billy D. Williams. Billy D. Williams is in The Rise of Skywalker. With Daisy Ridley, who is one of the many white people in Murder on the Orient Express.
I wondered if you want to do it.
With Olivia Colman.
Very good.
Yes, because I know, I know Lynn likes this movie. What? You love the costumes. It's the costumes. Lynn loves the costumes. The costumes are just divine.
Now, first of all,
and it's a timeless story.
First of all,
it's an Agatha Christie mystery.
First of all,
you pull somebody from Death in the Nile too if you want, because it's like 3 black people in Death in the Nile. The thing about this, like I said, Daisy Ridley, but Gal Gadot is in this one too, which gets me to the DC stuff. And so you know.
Gal Gadot's in Death in the Nile.
I'm sorry, she's in Death in the Nile. You're right, with Leslie Odom Jr.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. See, it's so like that's like central. It's like old white lady movie. You can get to a bunch of different franchises. Oh yeah. Downton Abbey, Death on the Nile, Murder on the Orient Express. It's a shame Oliver Platt isn't in one of them as Man in Gray Suit. Olivia Colman. What else is she in that I could possibly have known about?
Okay, I'll tell you. She was in, let's see. She was in The Iron Lady.
What was The Iron Lady about, Lynn?
Margaret Thatcher.
Oh, well, certainly I would have watched the historical docudrama about the life of Margaret Thatcher.
She was in Paddington. Oh, that's She's in Joyride from 2022.
Oh, is that the Asian
No, this is another one. I know which one you're talking about. This is another movie called Joyride.
Sure.
The British film.
Oh, I know it is. Oh, I know it is.
She was in The Lost Daughter. She actually executive produced that one.
Is Dame Judi Dench in any of these? Oh yeah, Lynn. Oh yeah, Lynn gonna have a movie with Lady Johanna Herdsworth as Lady Lorne Jenkinson.
She was in Mothering Sunday as Miss Claire Niven.
I mean, of course she was.
And she played Queen Anne.
In what?
Favorite.
In The Favorite, yeah. But I know her ass was in Murder on the Orient Express, which I look at that, Death on the Nile, in Downton Abbey, messing around with Lynn, his old white ladies.
All right.
Now, I've not seen that film.
What? Murder on
Murder on the Orient Express.
Which is a remake.
Yes, of course.
It's all right.
Okay. Yes,
the original is better.
I'm not supposed to read this, but how do you feel about Howard's End, Lynn? How did you like Howard's End? Was it delightful?
Weren't
the costumes wonderful?
I do like Howard's End.
Weren't the costumes wonderful?
It's more than just the costume. It's the acting.
It's the acting as well.
The entire story.
Howard's
End is a beautiful.
It's a beautiful film.
It's a beautiful movie.
Beautiful movie.
It is.
The costumes.
Have you ever seen it?
I have not.
You should.
Should I?
Yes. I think you will enjoy it.
I think I will enjoy Howard's
No,
End.
not really. Okay.
All right. The theme is O.
The theme is done. Now it's time for us to get into our review of Veiled Aristocrats from 1932.
There's a typo in here. I just need to check something real quick. It's Charles Chestnut.
You know what's a better movie is Remains of the Day.
I'm ready whenever you are, Dylan.
Which I have actually watched twice in the last month.
Veiled Aristocrats from 1932, based on the Charles Chestnut novel, The House Behind the Cedars, stars Lorenzo Tucker, also known as the Black Valentino, as a lawyer who returns home, who asks his wife, his sister, Rena, to join him in his new life in South Carolina, where unbeknownst to Rena, he is passing. Rena has to figure out where she wants to stand in this world between the white world and a new beau, and her world with a black beau. In this Oscar Micheaux's second remake of the novel from 1932, besides Lorenzo Tucker, it also stars Laura Bowman, Lawrence Chenault, Walter Fleming, and Barrington Guy. In Oscar Micheaux's 1932, The Veiled Aristocrats, brought to us by Lynn Webb. Lynn, what do you have to say about Mr. Micheaux's film?
I think I love going back to Oscar Micheaux films because they are some of the oldest representations that we have of Black people on film. This is 1932. That's almost 100 years ago.
How about
and it's
that?
just amazing to just see this. I always call these films time capsules of, what life was like in broad strokes in 1932. And I also think that it's very interesting that in 1932, Oscar Micheaux, first of all, you got to remember, even in 1932, the whole idea of making movies is still very, very new, right? So they still haven't really gotten far down the lane from basically filming a play.
Mm-hmm.
as far as Hollywood is concerned in 1932. So this film, and we've talked about other Oscar Micheaux films where, you know, he's basically finding actors where he can, you know, to just say his lines.
Right.
And
Right.
we're at this point in 1932 that Hollywood has kind of been up and running for a little over 10 years as an actual like place, destination, an actual, you know, place on the map where movies are considered to be made. So there are aspiring actors for him to choose from. You know, not many, but he can pick and choose. So it's interesting. By now, you can see like the acting maybe leveling up a little bit in the film. So I think that's always fun to gauge in, and then just the story of this movie. To think that in 1932, this man, who is barnstorming his films across the country on his own dime, more or less, still has the audacity to not only write a book, not only publish a book, not only do a silent version, adaptation of the book, but then to return and do a talking adaptation of this book that, in speaking about Black people passing for white so that they can have what they consider is the bigger slice of the American pie so that they can live a better life. To have that be interrogated by other Black people within that movie. So for that conversation to live within there, for there to be an examination of, the whole light skin, dark skin, self-hate, conversation that some people might think is a little bit more, nuanced, and therefore probably lives in like the 50s or 60s and in the 70s. No, this is back in 1932. This man was having this conversation, and I want to believe that he's putting this conversation to film because this is the conversation that is being had in the streets at this time. Right. He is trying to be as reflective of the Black experience as possible on screen. Now, does he cast some flack for it? Yes, because we've talked about, him casting light-skinned actors primarily in these roles of the affluent, or the good guys in the movie or things of that nature. And there's a little bit of that in this movie.
Yeah, but I mean that's the role.
But that's the role.
Yeah.
That's the role. You talked about the Black Valentino. Yes. And for those who, and it dawns on me, Valentino is a very old term.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And Valentino was the term back in this time for the leading male heartthrob of the time, Rudy Valentino in silent films. So this man, John Walter Fleming, was, akin to that, or people would say that.
Sure.
Because he was a lighter skinned Black man, wore his hair, slicked back, it's tall, statuous man, good of some size, not like a big man, but not a slight man.
He had presence.
He definitely had a presence.
Yeah, presence. Yeah,
definitely had presence. That shows in this film. You can see that this is not just some guy that Oscar Micheaux found. This is the guy who, as Derville Martin would say, he is an actor.
He's an actor.
He's an actor, and he is acting on the screen. But in this, though he is light-skinned, though he is the Black Valentino, there is a nuance to his character, and that he is not necessarily the good guy, because he has been living his life passing as a white man.
Yes.
100% passing of his white man, being diligent about how he speaks, about how he talks, more or less where he has been living, has made no mention of his background, no mention of his upbringing, or it's created a whole false narrative for his upbringing. But he has now returned to Fayetteville from whence he came to come back for his young sister, who was a babe when he had left, to give her what he deems as a better life than what she could possibly have in Fayetteville. And I think that's interesting commentary because he has no idea of her life.
Right.
In Fayetteville. As a matter of fact, the film says that when he comes up to returns home, it is midnight. So he has not even seen her.
Right.
In and amongst how she lives her life.
Right.
But he's just coming in saying like, I'm taking her with me, telling his mom, I'm taking her with me because that is where the better life is, pretending to be who you aren't.
Right.
Pretending to be a white person. And that is how he's made it. That's how he be able to make it in law school and become a lawyer, has what we are told and later see is a rather nice house with servants, conspicuously black servants, conspicuously darker skin servants.
Oh, yeah.
And which is where the drama does play out. And to her credit, his sister does not want to go.
No.
Does not want to go, and is forthright in saying why she does not want to go. Because I live here with mom. This is where my life is, and this is where I have found love here.
Right.
I found love with a darker skinned man named Frank, and that is who I want to be with.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it is when she and I love the straightforwardness of this plot, because in today's deconstruction of stories, it would have been the first quarter of the movie before she ever has that talk with her brother.
Right.
Meanwhile, she would have been hiding from Frank the whole idea that her brother wants to take her away. No, within the first 15 minutes, this movie, she's like, nah, I ain't going. And I'm going to tell Frank on you.
I was about to say, and she tells Frank.
Frank, guess what my brother, my brother, the one don't know me.
Right.
He want to take me away from you.
Right.
And Frank was like, what? He's like, yeah, she want to take me. How you like that? But I ain't going, baby. I ain't going. I want to be with you. And it is only because Frank says, now hold on.
Right.
Maybe you want to think about this.
Right.
You go.
Right. This is your brother.
This is your brother.
Right. I don't want to.
He's the quote unquote man of the family.
Right.
You go, you follow his lead, because while you go and do that, I'm going to be here making the most of myself.
Right.
So that when I do come for you, in my mind, I can come to you correctly.
Right.
And because I know that you will not give your heart away.
Right.
And I'll come get you.
Right.
And it is only because he says that.
Yeah. That
she says, well, okay.
Yeah.
Let's go of some agency.
Yeah.
That the agency that she was showing. And I thought that was very, for lack of a better word, progressive.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Certainly for 1932.
Yeah, absolutely.
For this story.
Absolutely, 100%.
And I enjoyed that aspect. And then from there, this was a lost Oscar Micheaux film. So they've pieced it together. It's basically about 44, 48 minutes, depending on the cut that you get. So you don't know how much has been lost from the story, because you quickly see it jumps ahead 6 months. She's miserable with her brother. Her brother set her up with a white guy.
Yeah.
Who I believe is actually, I was unsure whether or not this was actually a white actor. I think
he's a black actor.
It's a black actor.
Put a pin in that, though. I think
playing a white guy.
Yeah.
The one Barrington Guy is the actor playing
Barrington Guy. Yeah.
Playing George Tryon in this. And she more or less tells him, like, well, she doesn't tell him that she doesn't want to go with him.
Right.
but you can tell on her face she runs
Sure.
away from him.
Sure.
And ultimately, spoiler for a 100-year-old movie,
Right.
she secrets away
Yeah.
with Frank,
Right.
which I think is a very touching
Look.
end to this film. You
Yeah.
know, I like that. I also like that in this movie, Oscar Micheaux, and we've talked about some of his movies before, have been filmed like on sets.
Mhm.
And you can see like the bare bones sets. And there's moments in this film that are filmed on sets, but there are also moments in this film that are actually filmed in locations.
Yeah.
They're actually filmed in homes.
Yeah.
So which gives it a whole different lighting,
Right,
which
right.
actually gives it more of that cinematic feeling.
And some outside.
There's some outside footage
Yeah,
with that,
that is-
especially at the end,
Yeah. Oh,
which
yeah.
is almost documentary.
Look.
In
It
its
really
look.
is.
It's actually very like this movie has been stitched together and slightly restored,
Mm-hmm.
but it hasn't been like, this ain't Criterion level,
Right.
but it's gorgeous film.
You actually see the vision.
Yeah, you see what he's going for here. So it's a film that I, at the end of the day, appreciated the nuances of it. Now, it's a movie of its time.
Mm-hmm.
So are those some things that I bumped up against? Yes. Like the first 5 minutes of this movie literally is just the mother telling the son, "Oh my God, my son is home.
Yes.
I can't believe my son is home.
Yes.
Bless you, Father. My son is home. Yes, Mother, your son is home."
Yes, at midnight.
At midnight.
Yeah.
You have walked through the door.
Yeah.
Let me look at you,
Right.
my son,
For
who
5
has
minutes.
come back home.
Yeah.
That
yeah,
is 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then the sister comes downstairs and brother, let me look at you. Oh, my sister. And he gives her a very disturbing kiss.
It's like the Folgers commercial where the gift is me and she puts the bow on it. It's like, what's this energy between the brother and the sister?
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't even remember that commercial.
Oh, you remember the commercial a few years ago where the dude comes home and then he and his sister make coffee in the middle of the night and then she puts a bow on herself and says, "I'm the present." And it's like, this is a weird commercial.
Is a brother and sister in this commercial?
It's the weirdest. You saw it, you just forgot about it.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. Look it up.
No, I won't.
Yeah. But it's weird energy.
Because in this one, I mean, he's like holding arms,
Right.
they're pressing lips,
Right.
And it's
Because I kept looking back and forth. I was like, well, maybe this is another woman. This
did I miss?
isn't his sister.
And even though this is a talkie, it still has some vestiges of the silent film.
Right.
So every once in a while, there's a slate with the words.
Right.
I'm rewinded. Did I miss a slate?
Right.
Like what's cool? Because
Right.
this is
Yeah.
because immediately when that happened, in my mind, I'm like, oh, Oscar Micheaux is on some. She's on his shit now. Like, no, he ain't okay.
You know it's gonna
Taboo.
be this kind of movie.
I did not know.
Yeah.
All right, this is a race film.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a little. But and then there are a couple of moments where this film stops for a quick musical number.
Of course.
Just out of the blue, which again I don't mind. It basically because it's the music of the time,
Right.
and you're seeing people sing. It's another depiction of Black joy at the time. There is a moment where we juxtapose the lawyer and his mom and his sister and their life with the affluent Blacks of Fayetteville, who are all light-skinned.
It's a sprinkle of brown in there. Like the woman who sings is brown.
You know what? And I paid attention to that. Because you go to this house party, this house, and you see like a lot of light-skinned people dancing and, to this music. But if you pay attention, the person that's playing at the piano is a darker skinned person.
Okay.
Right. And then the one light-skinned person who's like, I guess it's her house. She's like, oh, I want to tell y'all a story because she's a gossip. She's like, oh, I got some gossip. I got some tea for y'all. But first, let's hear a song. It's just so-and-so, come sing the song for us. And that's the darker skinned
So you
person.
think she works for?
Either works for or she's hired help for that night.
Okay. All right.
You know, because
Look, I'm never going to push back too much.
because when I noticed
colorism charges.
because what happened is
movies.
she calls her forward. She's darker skinned. And then a young lady sits at the piano to play for her, who's also darker skinned.
Oh, so this is the help.
This is the help.
Got you. All right.
Yeah,
Hey.
yeah. I peeped that.
I take it back. You are correct.
I paid attention to that. So again, those are moments where you can bump up against this movie. But at the end of the day, just the bravery, well, for the time, bravery.
Sure.
And the to tell this story and to interrogate this story so thoughtfully, because outside of the musical numbers, this is pretty much everything is played for drama.
Absolutely.
There's
100%.
no buffoonery. There's really no comedy in this at all. This is 100% a drama.
And it's not melodramatic.
Exactly.
Like it is actually a drama.
It's a nuanced drama.
Considering it's, 1932,
you know, so at the end of the day, I'm happy that they found this film.
Sure.
I'm happy that they were able to restore it to whatever level of completion they were. So that we have another quiver in the Oscar Micheaux filmography. And this was, unless I missed my guess, this was my first running into Walter Fleming. But I think we've seen Lucille Lewis before in a couple of other. I think she may have showed up in another.
Is that the
Oscar
mother?
Micheaux. No, she's Rena, the sister.
No, this is our first time.
Oh no, you're right. This is her first film.
This is her first.
The
film.
mother, I think we've seen before. Who is Laura Bowman?
Yeah.
I walked away enjoying my time with the Veiled Aristocrats.
Yeah. I agree with everything you said. I'll just add a couple of things that, just historical part. So this is 1932 and we are moving into the talkie period.
Yes.
So as we've mentioned, this is, you mentioned something he wrote, but it is pretty much accepted that this is an adaptation of Charles Chestnut's novel.
Oh, okay.
House Behind the Cedars. And this is his second time making it.
That's when
he and Charles Chestnut kind of had this negotiation that he made it as a silent film, and now with the advent of talkies, he made it again. And part of the reason that he's making these films during this moment is he's gotten financing from these Jewish businessmen in Harlem. So he's kind of trying to, just pump them out while he's got this money. I mentioned the talkie part because what happens in this transitional period is you get a lot of these musical numbers.
Yeah.
Like these movies, now that we have sound, we got to have the end. There are two musical numbers in here. There's a performance that you just spoke of. And then there's a moment where the servants at not Ron
at John's
John's house,
right,
are by themselves, and then they have like a little impromptu concert. And it is what it is. It is. I feel kind of bad watching this a week after Cabin in the Sky because everything sort of pales in comparison. But to your point, I think it is always important to note where these films are in relation to Birth of a Nation. So Birth of a Nation is 1915. This is 17 years later.
Right.
But when you look at commentary from the period, when you look at just social critique, Birth of a Nation was devastating to the image of Black people.
Indeed.
Because this was the first national unified image of this kind of negative stereotype that you got about Black people. And Oscar Micheaux was really on the front lines, consciously pushing back against this. You know, I think he always wanted to make films that appeal to the masses. But we talked about when we talk about Within Our Gates, where Within Our Gates is a direct response to Birth of a Nation. And I do think in his mind, I feel like he was always aware of the image of blackness that he had on screen, even if some of those images critics were saying, you know, because he would, you know, have juke joints and people singing and dancing. And of course, we can't have a show us respectable. But I do think that you got the full range of Black humanity in a way that you didn't see in other films of this time. And like you, I think this film is a perfect example of it. There were a couple of things that I thought were fascinating. There is a moment where they say this is the town's Black elite. And we know that because there's a placard that says, here's a meeting of the Black elite. But I think that is really important to have in a film about passing, because whether we're talking about this, whether we're talking about a film like Pinky, whether we're talking about both versions of Imitation of Life, whether we're talking about the aforementioned Passing, which is a novel that's going to come out. So this is 32. Passing is out already, I think. Like, whenever we talk about passing historically, the underlying reason was that as a Black person who can pass for white, I want to pass for white because I have more opportunity. I have more space to grow. I have the ability to go further. But kind of always baked into these texts is that, well, except for passing. Passing is actually kind of fascinating because it acknowledges that as well, that there is a Black middle class. Like, there is a Black elite that exists. You know, we talked about it with Imitation of Life, where at one point, you know, she says, oh, I tried to go to one of them colored colleges and it was terrible. And it's like, oh, let's stop it. Why was it terrible to go to the college? Like, and we actually said it in a review. You can tell these were white people who had made this. So for a white person, they want to, like, blackness can't be anything but misery. And so for Oscar Micheaux to depict these Black people having a good life, and then, as you said, it lands on this character choosing to go back with Frank. And Frank, you know, Frank got a nice car. Frank got his hair made. Like she's not going back to a life of misery. Nope. I think that's radical. Speaking of passing, I love the fact that John's Black servants are the ones who suspect something is kind of funky. I think that lends them an air of agency. It lends them an air of intelligence that you don't often get with the working Black class in these films. Like, you know, I was as scared of ghosts is what you usually get when you have poor Black people on film. But these Black people, are smart. You know, we're the servants, we're the butlers, we're the maids, or whatever, but we're smart enough to know amongst ourselves, you know, talking about the Micheaux test, like like they're talking with each other. None of the main cast is in that scene. We suspect is something going on funky with these two. B, when they leave, we have a whole deal by ourselves in here. And I love that. And I love that. And again,
I also love, quickly to your point, they suss out that something's going on. Something's not quite right with the Waldens. Right. But they don't hold it over their head.
No.
That's also...
It's not my business.
Exactly.
Like, I'm not here to solve a mystery. I'm just saying, it's something weird about these two.
Okay, and now we know.
But more importantly, they've left.
Exactly.
So now we can get on the piano and do a little dance and this, that, and the other. Like you, I do think it is a little difficult to judge this film on technical terms, because like you said, it's been stitched together, it's been sort of found, this, that, and the other. But on its own merits, I think there is something there. You know, I think the acting, like I said, the young lady who I just lost my page. The young lady who plays Rena, what's her name?
Lori, I had it. I'll give it to you. Go ahead. Say what you're saying.
But I think it's important to note this is her first film. Like Oscar Micheaux had a sort of traveling band of actresses, but because of the talkies, because of the change in the business,
Lucille Lewis,
he had lost a lot of the actors in his troupe that he used. Lucille Lewis, I think, won a beauty contest, and he said, "Oh, well, maybe you should try acting." So you can tell she's a little green, especially when she's on the screen with
Walter Fleming,
who plays
John,
who acted with Oscar Micheaux in several productions, and just in this film, like you said, you can tell this is an actor.
Yes.
Like the way
he fills the screen.
He fills up the screen. I also think it's fascinating that in a film about passing, the white character is played by a black actor who looks like he's white.
He does. You actually have to ask yourself.
Like, as you said, well, is he? And this is really radical. Like this is, we talked about this a bit with Birth of a Nation, where at one point, and I'm losing everybody's name. What's my girl's name that plays the daughter? Freddie Washington.
Right.
There's a moment where...
And you're talking about Imitation of Life. You said...
I'm sorry, Imitation Life, where Freddie Washington is standing next to the actress who plays basically her stepsister, quote unquote. But the two of them look so much alike.
Yeah.
That you realize just how unstable race is. So in something like this, these are people and they're passing this, that, and the other. Well, we have to have a white character. But we can't have a white actor. Well, we're going to go find a black actor who looks like he's white.
Right.
And, to your point, when you said we watch it this afternoon, it was like, well, I know that's not a white actor. And sure enough, it wasn't a white actor.
Oh, Barrington Gee.
But Barrington Gee also kind of adds this level of radicalness to this film, which is, I think this is something that Oscar Micheaux was very intentionally interested in.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, in my mind, everything is always reacting to Birth of a Nation, which, infamously has a bunch of black characters played by white men in blackface. So there's that as well. But yeah, look, we're reviewing this film because we're talking about it. Maybe people haven't seen it. I haven't seen this before. Is this your first time seeing it?
My very first.
This is our first time seeing it. We're talking about it, but I don't know. I'm going to speak for you, but this notion of are you going to recommend it? Are you not going to recommend it? Look, you have to watch every stitch of film that has survived
from Oscar
Micheaux.
Yeah, you should.
So that part of is it entertaining or is it not entertaining? Like you said, there's the bit at the beginning with the talking back and forth is this, that, and the other, but it doesn't matter.
No.
It's Oscar Micheaux. You have to watch it. And besides that, I do think there's enough interesting going on in here to justify watching it on its own merits.
On its own merits, just as a movie. itself. Yes,
Yeah.
I agree. I think that this is a movie that, especially if you try and put yourself in the headspace of when this movie was made,
Mm-hmm.
and then take in the story, not so much the production that you're seeing, but the story itself, and think of it being made in that time. Radical is the word for it, but it is something. And the works of Oscar Micheaux. I mean, you know, you and Dylan make a joke about me and my old timey movies.
Yes.
And why am I going to watch a black and white movie? Well, this is why you watch black and white movies, because sometimes there is something to be gained from black and white movies, ladies and gentlemen, even movies that are almost 100 years old. Because you think about this movie, you think about these conversations that are happening back then, and you wonder, like, why we're still having a lot of these same conversations.
Sure.
Because these things don't go away.
Sure.
They don't go away. And for everything you think has been tried, they've been trying this for over 100 years. People have been already beating you to the punch. But yeah, this is actually, when I was looking up Oscar Micheaux films to watch, and I saw that one was titled Veiled Aristocrats, I was like, that's not an Oscar Micheaux movie. Veiled Aristocrats. Get out of here. That's some like AI generated Oscar Micheaux thing.
No.
But it was the real deal. I was like, okay, man. So yeah, I definitely would recommend this movie. And it's 44 minutes.
44 minutes. It's
and it actually goes pretty quick.
Look.
I was like, oh, it's done.
Like, I think what would kind of like the joke I had in my own head is that they were sort of, and they actually talk about the production is like Oscar Micheaux would rewrite scripts in the middle and hand it to people, like, and now we shoot.
Yeah. Like, sometimes it wasn't that they didn't know their lines.
Right.
Sometimes they just got their lines.
Right. It's like that. Those first 5 minutes, they were just sort of warming up.
Just vamp.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And it was like, do you remember Bigfoot was a robot? But once they got going, it moved. Yeah, it moved, and we joked a little bit about Oscar Micheaux. I didn't want to lose this, and sort of the colorism critique that you have with not just Oscar Micheaux, but like everyone from this period, and unfortunately a lot of times in our period. But I think it's worth noting that the voice of reason and the moral clarity was Frank.
That's right.
Who was the brown-skinned man. Like, as you said, he's the one that told her, well, kind of play this thing out.
Exactly.
I love you. I'm going to come get you. And we're going to live happily. And then he does it.
Yep.
So yeah, absolutely.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. All right.
So
that is our review of Veiled Aristocrats. More importantly, well, probably with equal importance, that is the 399th review.
Woo!
Here on the Micheaux Mission.
How about that?
And that means that next week it is episode 400.
400.
Our 400th episode of the Micheaux Mission, our 400th movie, and boy, do we have a great one for you.
We do.
We have a fantastic guest coming your way.
Not even a guest anymore.
Yes.
Right.
You know what?
Family is visiting.
Pin in that. Pin in that.
Yeah, family is visiting next week.
Before we get there, if you have any thoughts that you want to share with us, hey, if you just want to congratulate us on 400 episodes, we appreciate that. Hit us up. You can send us an email at micheauxmission@gmail.com. That's MICHEAUXMISSION@gmail.com. Or you can find us on all the social media of your choice: Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. You can find us at Micheaux Mission. And I also invite you to subscribe to the Micheaux Mission on YouTube. Ring that bell so you are notified when we go live, when we put up our shorts, when we put up our edited videos. And please tell a friend about the Micheaux Mission so that they can subscribe to our fledgling little YouTube show as well. which streams every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. from YUNKJunk, Philadelphia's premier video podcast palace. You can get your own Dylan at YUNKJunk.com to book yourself in one of the many studios that they have here inside YUNKJunk Arena. Dylan, DYLAN, at YUNKJunk.com. Make it so. The Micheaux Mission is also a proud member of The Podglomerate. ThePodglomerate.com. They make podcasts work, such as ours. We have been with Podglomerate now for almost 7 years, and it has been 7 years of good stuff. All right. Next week here on the Micheaux Mission. Oh, before we got there.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot. Because it's damn near sold out. But there are a few tickets remaining for our screening this Thursday here in Philadelphia at Bryn Mawr Film Institute of The Five Heartbeats.
Yes, sir.
The second rung on the Be Real Micheaux screening series, as Vincent and I sit down with our good friend Stephanie of the Be Real Black Cinema Club to host a screening and live podcast talkback of The Five Heartbeats this Thursday, June 13th, Bryn Mawr Film Institute. There are a few tickets still available at brynmarfilm.org, ladies and gentlemen. And you have to be in the building because that is not only the only way that you will see this film once again on the big screen, as it should always be seen, but it's the only way that you'll be able to have a hand and have a say in what will be the third film in the Be Real Micheaux screening series that will be screening in August. The screening series is brought to you by the lovely support of the League of Historical American Movie Theaters. All right. Next week, episode 400. We will sit down to review from 2023 Tiana Taylor.
Yeah.
In 1001.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
A film that surprisingly actually has come close to on both of our lists.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
To be selected.
Oh, yeah.
But it has found its way to the mission on episode 400. And that is because it was a selection of our guests. As Vincent has said, he is family returning to the Micheaux Mission. And if you don't believe it, there has been no person who has appeared on the Micheaux Mission more than Vincent or I or our guests, returning for his fifth presentation here on the Micheaux Mission. It is actor, producer, DJ, our brother, Dorian Missick.
Yes.
Returning to the Micheaux Mission to review 1001 on our 400th episode. It has been too long since his last visit, but it is always a great time.
Yes.
When family comes home.
Yes.
Looking forward to that.
Absolutely.
All right. Until then, he's Vincent Williams. I'm Len Webb. That's Dylan YUNKJunk. And in parting, we say,
we'll see you when it's time to meet again.
YUNKJunk!